Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this key 28, the 8th one from the series Practice, entitled The Inner Child. Well, let's start with a short definition to explain the concept, then the field of application, and after that we will see different 10 techniques to activate it, and then 4 different tips, and also advice. Well, let's start with the kind of definition. What is this concept? This concept, inner child, concretely, to make it short, this is to reactivate the state of mind, the mood that you had in your childhood. Okay? So it implies the innocence, the capacity to marvel at life. Wow! For very small things, kind of innocence, bringing you to the high vibration, high frequency, and at the end the goal is to inject some colors into sometimes a black and white life. Okay, if we are too much adults, because it's linked to dream mentality, as the Little Prince, my main mentor, said, turn your life into a dream and your dream into reality. Those who don't have dream, for me, they are dead. Those who are not enough child, they are kind of boring. You know, the very strict people, always serious and so on. Mozart, the great composer, said, I don't like people who don't have sense of humor. They are not serious people. Okay, so it's not you have to be like this, but it is an invitation, a subtle invitation, because it brings high vibration, happiness, harmony, fun, okay? And it will create, so it will simulate, it arouse, okay, your creativity also at the end. So concretely, and even a proof of that, the fact that this is important is definitely a milestone within your inner path towards the eternal awakening, okay? Most of the mysticism talking about this inner child with a way or another, a subtle one with metaphor and so on. But expressly, when you have in the Bible, it's written is Matthew 19:14. Jesus said the following: "Let the little children come to me, and don't hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belong to such as this." What does it mean? Does it mean necessarily that the paradise is reserved for kids? It's not that. And by the way, paradise, we evoke a little bit. My consideration is that it is here, is the YOUnity high vibration, so it is now here. I'm in the Garden of Eden here. You can see I admire the beauty of life, the abundance of nature, and so on, so on. I smile at life, and life smiles at me. You know, this is paradise. When I make love, when I embrace my kid, my parents, and so on, I'm in paradise. When I'm with friends, and so on, I'm in paradise. You know, so it's unity. I'm fulfilled, okay? Well, so this is a milestone because it brings you a lot of things. So if we see more precisely, there are essentially 5 purpose or fields of implementation. So first of all, the high vibration, as you say, we mentioned just before, because you are positive, you have a positive mindset, your life becomes colorful, fun, and so on. So this is the first aspect. And we know that high vibration means high energy. You remember light and lighten, so it means the light, okay, the photons, which is the subtle light, is not the physical light, is the divine light. And also, this is also weightlessness, okay? It's the fact that when you ascend, it's not flying in the sky, it's just that you rise your vibration. And we know that everything now is energy. I refer to the key 12. Okay, so everything is vibration. So if you're positive and so on, you spread this positive aspect, and people will appreciate you more, and you have more chance to create the abundance with the magnets of life. All right, the fact that you will meet probably more people like magnets. We attract what we think and also what we do. okay, what we be, okay? So this is important for this reason. It allows you to be more creative, more innovative, to have more dreams in general, as we say before. So it's good as well when you're a creator, but creativity at a course online with that is 10 hours. Stimulate that. Why is important? It's not reserved for necessarily architects or designer and so on. Not at all. Every type of jobs, a teacher, even in the doctors, scientists, and so on, they need to innovate, to think out of the box. Okay? In 2030, 70% of the jobs don't exist now. Okay? Not yet. So we need to create them. Okay? As Einstein said, you cannot solve the problem with the same state of mind which created them. Okay, what does it mean? It means you have to think out of the box. So the inner child allows you this, the process of innovation, creativity, and so on and so forth. That's why the inner child allows you to be more artistic, to be more aware about other dimensions. So it is also a capacity to be more happy in general, happier for small pleasure, okay? They are focusing on ants and they play and so on. Life is the gigantic, let's say, playground. And many occasions when you let them alone and so on, playing in the garden, they will spend maybe 2 hours in their bubble. They analyze, they discover things, they will ask questions and so on. So here it is, the other very important point. They are questioning all the time. They ask you many things, and they're questioning the meaning of life. Why daddy is that? Why mommy is that? Why? You know, sometimes it's maybe tiring for certain parents, but questioning the meaning of life, this innocence. That's why the cycle of life is well done. When you are 30 years old or even younger, 25, 30 years old and so on, older, sometimes they arrive and the fresh eyes allows you to just realize with real eyes, the real eyes, no, more seriously, yeah, it allows you to, what's the establishment, what is established, what is official, what are the foundation of our society, and so on, you know, what is the notion of refugee, what is the, all this kind of thing, what is a passport, what is identity, what is identity card. If I don't have, I don't exist. You know, this kind of innocent question. But so far, we had too much in it, okay? Why there are poor people? Why this? Why also the sky is blue? Have you already think about that? How is possible that the moon can stay? Or the planets and so on, the magnetism? Why the earth doesn't fall down? Okay, all this kind of thing. You can admire everything. We will see just after in the techniques. So. But actually, this is interesting to question because it's kind of freedom. Questioning is what we saw with the key 8, the Maya, to unveil the veils of illusion of this reality, the quadrature of the cycle of the system sometimes, the nonsense sometimes, and also in general, the innocent question, sometimes you say, oh yeah, it's true, why? And because you never pay attention. That's why when you have a trainee and so on in your company, in your business, some people with fresh eyes, they ask good question at the end, innocent question. You know, Marcel Proust is a great French writer. He say, the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscape, but in having new eyes. Is this not necessarily to travel so much, traveling here with new eyes? It is this point. And then it just puts some magic into the present time. The kids are in omnipresence and in a endless presence. They don't know what is next. They don't know this. Proof, I mean, an experience has been done with 10,000 kids around the world, whatever the origin, social origin, and so on. And the test was the following. 100% of them prefer to have a small piece of chocolate now instead of a big bar, okay, a complete full, maybe, I don't know, 20 different little pieces, 1 hour later. Why? Because they don't know what is 1 hour, 1 century, 1 year, 1 day, 1 night, one sleep. It's nothing. It is not now. So it doesn't exist for them, the future, you know? So they are completely in the moment. I remember a kid here, I was asking one day, he was playing and so on, and I just asked him, do you have a school tomorrow? And he just put pause. Mommy, do you have, he was 5 years old or something like this, do you have course tomorrow? Do you have class? And she said yes or no, I don't remember, but anyway, we don't care. It's just the fact that he didn't know, because for him, the stress of the meeting for tomorrow is another day, is another life. Are you stressed for the, if you believe in reincarnation, for the next life you have? No, because you don't know. And this is not now. Are you stressed about what will happen in 100 years? No, because you will be not here anymore. For many reasons, probably, except for other reasons as well. But that's why a lot of people are very selfish regarding this system, and especially some groups, multinational, and also because they are really greedy, okay? The system is greedy in the absolute, not necessarily only individual. And they don't care about if life is not possible in 1 century. They don't care, because they won't be there anymore, except maybe it's a little bit selfish for the offspring and so on. But yeah, a lot of people have difficulties to project themselves after more than half century, even for retirement, investment and so on. It's a matter of fact. Okay, so, but anyway, just to come back on the fact that they are just focused on now, and this is one of the reasons it's so rich potential. So if we had to focus and to resume the 3 most important pillars towards this concept of inner child is first the innocence, the candor, they are without any prejudice. They don't have preconceived idea. A kid from 1 to 3, they don't have anger, okay? They don't have anger, and they don't have hate, and also they don't judge. They don't say, he's black, he's Asian, and so on. No, they are potentially friends. Okay, let's play. And they don't say, oh, mommy is black, oh, mommy is Indian, oh, mommy is white. No, I don't play with him. Normally until 3, 4 years old. I'm not saying that all the kids afterwards are like angels, not at all, because it has been proved that in Western country and probably other countries, 20% of the kids testify that they have been punched and so on because they were different. And 80% testifying they were part of a movement of a group. They have been influenced, even if they are very nice, very kind and so on, towards a minority. Can be too small, can be big, can be fat, can be many things. And yeah, it's a matter of fact. Kids are cruel sometimes. I've been cruel when I was young in the past. I realize now, and sometimes not always. And the phenomenon, the group phenomena, is interesting because it is what's happening in certain countries. Sometimes the country is completely stable, and war arrive, and people get crazy and becomes animals. Or even we can see here they are super peaceful. When there was a earthquake in other islands, Gili, for instance, there were rapes, there were thieves, and so on. And normally people are very quiet, gentle, and so on. So you see, and maybe also the fact that's why when you see riots and so on, it is because okay, it's allowed, let's do it. You know. So why I'm insisting on the fact that they are not angels. It's not to make capricious inner kid. Huh? It is to manage also. Huh? You are also the adult part preserving this excess. So the second one is without worrying about the judgments of others. They don't care to seem to be ridiculous sometimes. I want to put a flower and so on. I do it. I want to put, I don't know, makeup here. I do it. And I play. I play with life. I'm not aware about the judgment and so on. Seems ridiculous maybe for certain of you. Yeah, they are in the playground, they are in the bubble, they talk to imaginary friends and so on. that's fair for them. You see, so this is a potential to feel more confident, okay, for your life also. And then is the fact to innovate with new eyes, as I say, the fact to open up your eyes with fresh eyes, fresh idea, fresh mind, and so on. Let's see the techniques. Okay, so 10 of them. The first one is visualization. I will not do a guided meditation now for that. I just invite you as a concept. I explain you and try to do it 10 minutes roughly, if it's 7 minutes or 15 minutes, up to you, even more up to you. But you adjust and you do it according to your own, let's say, guidance. Okay, so you visualize the first sight. You can check some pictures when you are young and so on, and you see a maximum of details. And you can visualize that you see yourself as a kid as if you were, well, finally, if you were external, but also the goal is to reconnect you both sides, okay, like unity, okay? So you dissociate at first sight and you visualize yourself. So you are adults and you visualize yourself as a kid. But you will create a mutual effect, reciprocity, okay? Concretely, you will embrace you as a kid. It will compensate and will you give a maximum of love, caress, attention, you take care, you reassure and so on. Maybe you will compensate the lack of the lack of what you had in the past and so on, you're missing maybe attention and so on, and you give a maximum of love towards your own self from your inner child. This is really important. And by return, you receive the unconditional love of this little creature, which has been you, and maybe has been frustrated from lacking the receptivity. Maybe you wanted to give more attention, more hug to mommy, to daddy, and they were always busy and they were as they could do. This is the compensation. So try to do a maximum of minutes, but you really feel you can even do that. You are in meditation, but you can also do that like hugging strongly, with all your emotion and both sides. Try to visualize your both sides now and what you were and what you're missing, and you can cry, you can be fierce of sadness, sorrow, also of happiness, because you go home, you unified yourself, and it creates something very amazing. Then the second step of this guided meditation is to visualize on a swing, okay? The swing has the virtue, the vocation to be a little bit in a hypnotic trance, step by step, and you will feel more relaxed. And if you are more relaxed, you can more touch your unconscious part to reparameter your integrated system, okay? So and you visualize that they sit on your knees and you're like this, and you make mutually some caress and so on. You feel their smell, you touch with a maximum of detail, the very soft skin and so on so far. Like little human, 4 or 5 years old, up to you. You choose the age. But maybe now you're bald and you can visualize with hair, or maybe now you're a bit, and you can visualize how was it, how you were, okay? And this is to reactivate that. Second technique is to the time travel, okay? So try to watch, okay, cartoons from your childhood, okay, depending on your generation, but if you are from the 70s, it can be a Spider-Man. If you are more like me from 80s, it can be anything. If you are more from 90s, Teletubbies, me was more Winnie the Pooh, this kind of thing. And check the teaser, and the music as well. Just the music, okay, like Alice 31 and so on, all this kind of thing, Once Upon a Time Life, this kind of thing. And just the music will recreate something within you, okay? And the image as well. If you watch it 100 times, you will feel the moment of this. For example, for me, it was associating, especially because in France, we have Wednesday is day off for the kids. So the Wednesday afternoon, I was watching sometime, then I knew that I was playing in the garden and so on, or I had my exam the day after, I have to do my homework, all this kind of thing, and so on. So you can reactivate as remembrance. Remembrance, to remember, to reactivate your members, is like emotional memories. Okay, so you reactivate your state of mind, your complexity, your simplicity from this age. So this is, that's why I baptized time travel or time travel machine, whatever. It's the way. So you can type of you Google or YouTube, you will find them, of course, with the name, the good title, and so on, the music, and plus the cartoon itself. Can be also comics, I don't know, comics and so on, just to see, for example, maybe you ask to mommy to tell a story, and she reads maybe a dozen of times, and you know exactly the image, you know exactly the story, but you didn't reopen up. But actually, you know, it's the principle of the archetype of daddy or mommy. Just open up. He is 40 years old or she is 50 years old, and he goes back to his hometown, and or for it can be for grief and so on, and he discovers this magic box. In it, he had his toys. Okay, it can be just a little philo, or I don't know, some just an innocent toy, and then, wow, it's like an amazing moment because many things comes back. Okay, so this is remembrance. So it will allows you to reactivate your sensory memory. Third is to revive some strange feeling or thoughts you had in the past, and to reactivate why you are thinking about that. Okay, and you are convinced, you were convinced of that. I'll give you some examples. When I was young, I was convinced, so it was completely crazy, that if you take a picture of someone with a camera in front, I mean backwards, there was the TV set, you would have been projected into the TV. Okay, yeah, are you sure? Yeah, and I was completely convinced about that. If I would have said, I would probably have a theory or explanation, arguments, and so on to justify. Yeah, it was common sense. It was like this, you see? Or, I don't know, I was convinced that for a fountain, okay, a fountain, waterfall, beyond there was a new world, like you arrive on the a gate for a space-time gate, and you would have arrived to another world, another planet, and so on. And I was completely convinced about that. Okay, or another one, which is a little bit weird, but from 6, 7, 8 years old, I was convinced that maybe we were just jumpers, and we were just jumping from a life to another with the consciousness and the integrity system. Take an example. If I just shift 5 minutes ago, I'm convinced I am myself. I am Aurélien Milot. Okay, and maybe it's just the fruits of my memories. If I integrated, I remember what I ate yesterday, but it's just a memory. If I'm not owning this memory, I become this person. Okay, I invite you to think about it. If I inject you some memories, if it were possible, or if I cut some memories in your mind, this is the fruit of one of the book I'm writing now. If you cut some parts like plasticity and so on, like a trauma and so on, you don't have this anymore. If we inject like connection, imagine if it were possible, of an ability, of a trauma, or something positive and so on, activation of the fact to went to a certain country with memory. The brain would never make the difference, you see? So, but anyway, I have this strange feeling, and what is weird as well, is that I discovered this feeling in certain esoteric currents. It means in some mystical aspect, some people think about it. I mean, believe that. Well, I invite you to the fourth one is to play, children games that you used to play when you were young. So it can be, huts, a cabin, or paper plan. How long you didn't do a paper plan? Or it can be hopscotch, for example. It can be, when you the jump rope, or when you jump on the bed and so on, or when you are doing, board games, or it can be Monopoly and so on. And also because you're gonna reactivate something. Monopoly, who knows? Maybe you will discover that you were not fair play, you were always losing, and now you realize that you have 10 villas, 10 different cars, and you're in a bulimic to compensate that. It's kind of psychoanalysis as well, okay? But okay, it's not only this, because maybe if you are in a bulimic of money is lack of affection as well. And it can be from the childhood also. Maybe you lack from mommy, from daddy, he passed away, she passed away, you have been, can be that. Huh? So you want to compensate in a certain extent. Same also for compensation with, the womanizer, for example. It's not only sexual attraction. This is also a kind of compensation from childhood. Okay, so this is interesting to analyze yourself like this, to have a self-analysis. So you can have a psychoanalyst, an official therapist, a professional for that, but you can also do an inner journey, an inner analysis regarding that. So to activate like this. Fifth technique is, like playing the fool, okay, the buffoon. What is it? It is to do, the kids are doing that very often. And I saw my cats sometimes are completely crazy. They are doing nonsense thing. And actually, even the animals, they need that. And it's good to break the, establishment, the thing that you cannot do in public. And the proof is, well, I'm not asking you in the extreme, when people are drunk, a lot of them, I don't know why they do that. I mean, just for social, let's say, forbidden things. A lot of people, they show the ass, or they want to show the sex and so on. Why that? Or some people are violent and so on. Because this is something they keep for them. And also the fact to be forbidden, they want to go through, to get through this. Okay, so. I'm not asking you to show your ass in public, is not this, but at least to do like crazy things, like I don't know, you want to do this kind of thing. But this is ridiculous, right? But we don't care, just for fun of doing. Let's give you some other example. When we're kids, most of the time we do that. We repeat exactly the same sentences of the person in front of you. So like mirroring by repeating, and also by doing exactly at the same moment the gesture. Most of us, we did it, okay? Or I don't know, things like this kind of thing. And you're gonna reactivate step by step, okay? So I invite you to do the test. Try to do also childhood artistic activity you used to do, like Play-Doh, like maybe you paint with your hands, and it was looking like nothing, but it's not a big deal. Or you had some pottery, okay, this kind of thing. You reactivate that. So you will reactivate also your artistical part, your own inner artists, and you will arouse also your creativity. We will see a special chapter, key 38, if my memory is correct regarding the planning I have. It will be this creativity, how to stimulate your creativity and thereby also your intuition, okay? And it's, I told you, is useful for every type of jobs and society in general. Innovation we need for research and development, for science, for medicine, and so on and so forth. So I invite you to do these tests. Actually, also to recover the eyes you had by observing kids. Okay, you can just observe kids in a park, for example, and you see the archetype. Whatever the country I visited, almost 70 countries in my life, so 1/3 of them, and in some rich, in quote mark, Western countries and more, let's say, humble countries and so on. So Uzbekistan, Iran, Ethiopia, and so on. So not necessarily conventional country. Everywhere, even in states or even in wherever in Australia and so on, is the same thing. The kids always, when they see a pigeon, they want to run on the pigeon systematically. They want to, and this is interesting because they want to run at it and they want to catch it. But you can be sure that if they touch the feather, they don't like. So it's a kind of metaphor as well, because imagine it's a little bit the principle of life. A lot of people, they are rushing, running at something, and they don't want to reach it because it's kind of end in a certain extent. So, but it's like in the DNA. It's like built in. Most of the kids react like this. Why? Do they have been taught like this? Not at all. It's just spontaneous. They like or sending some stone to them, but or to feed them, whatever. But even that, by observing, you can see the profile of the potential profile of the kids. But for the future as well. But just try to analyze that by empathy. Empathy is the fact to penetrate the integrated system of a person, so it's true for any kind of adults, and also for the kids, and to see how they play, you see, and you can observe as well the parents looking at their kids playing, enjoying the fact the kids are playing with the pigeon, and you can appreciate the parents enjoying the and so on, and someone maybe will see you perceiving this scene and so on, like, you know, Russian dolls, like observing, observer, and so on and so forth, and like the pigeon as well, pigeon like you know, goats, sheep for the system and so on. Yeah, it's interesting to observe that, but it can be also, you know, sometimes they are in the bubble, they talk alone, and they say, but I don't know, they can use whatever they think. This is a rocket. Okay, so for them is or the probe or whatever, it can become whatever the thing. It can be a mic, yeah, and they are in the trip, they are in the mood, you know. And this is interesting to perceive them like this, because it will bring you back this notion of the fact that life is a gigantic playground once again. The French artist and writer Hervé Bazin said the following: the child is the most mysterious, the most fascinating, the most of the phenomena, a kind of privileged animal that we guess inhabited by God. It's beautiful, right? And personally, I wrote, and you can find it in the book, which is available on my website for free in English. It has been translated from French, which is Sage Passage. Okay, Sage Passage, Utopia. And also in another 99 quotes entitled Saint Synthesis. Okay, actually, this is different quotes, and this one is a part of it. No temple is as sacred as the laughter of a child, that candid little creature, that sage who knows to be animated by divine breath. There dwells his true sacred heart. I invite you to think about it, and you can find it back. You can download it on my website. Well, another technique is to return to candid and constant state of wondering. Wondering life means you marvel at ants, you marvel at bees, you marvel about anything, like the plants, how it's grow up, how it's possible. You can do some tests. You can just plant, you know, and you just observe every day and so on. When you have kids and you do that, gardening and so on, you can see the eyes, and there is like also like a mirror effect in the eyes, the beauty of life, and the beauty is in the eyes of those who appreciate, and also in yours as well. And you can do it only for you. And it can be also marveling at life for observing a plane. How crazy it is that a plane, when you see how big it is, the mass, the weight, the load, and it can fly. How come? It's like magic. Or a satellite. How come? A GPS, internet, all the technology is just amazing, fantastic. A lift, a car, how come? Would you be able to remake? Are you are on the remote islands? Would you be able? No, you're not capable individually. Even Einstein, the greatest scientist, or I don't know, Elon Musk and so on, supposed to be really brilliant, they cannot do anything alone. So it will allow you to see the fact that we are depending each other, the society, the system, the block of knowledge for ages as well, because this is not only present society, it's also the fruit of our ancestors and so on, as the consciousness. We are belonging as a fragment of the consciousness. So I invite you to think about this. 9 is to have fun with the big game of grown-ups. What does it mean? It is, let's pretend we were adults, okay? So the kids, they systematically want to be part as adults, as actor in the movie of real life. What does it mean? They imitate. They imitate the police. They imitate the sailor, the cooker. They just want to be part of it. When they do, cabin hunts and so on, they want to recreate the notion of ownership. They want to be part of this world and so on. It's not so innocent. It's just a human feeling, being, and so on. So it's interesting to reactivate that. But the fact, for example, you observe and the kid, they are super excited. Oh, mommy, I give a bill, a note to pay the cashier. Okay, but do it. And they are super exciting. Imagine if you were the case. Every time you go to the corner shop or you pay an invoice, you are happy. Imagine your life. It's changing. The perception is changing. It can be when you open up when it's manual, certain countries, certain lines of the subway, you have to open a door, okay? You have to do like this. And some kids, they love to do that. Or to press the button on the lift, And for them, oh, let me do. They're super excited like this. Do it like this. Remind you that. And I take my scooter here. I didn't have when I was young. I'm on my scooter. It doesn't mean that I go fast, but it's just a pleasure when you drive. It's like karting. Okay, so you can play to drive. You can, and everything is a pretext to have fun. I remember when I was working in big group, I was maybe 25 years old. We had the visit one day per year of people from outside. So the kids were visiting us, and I was saying, imagine in the future if you work well at school, you will be like mommy. You will be able to play on the computer the whole day long. And they were doing, wow! And playing was just not video game. It was just typing like emails. And when you're a kid, yeah, for you it's just fantastic. You're part of the world of grown-ups, of the big world, And when you reactivate that, life becomes just amazing. And every fragment of time you prepare cook. Oh yes, we're gonna cook and so on. Or you are gardening and so on. Everything can be fun. Everything can be fun, actually. So this is something I really invite you to do. The last one is the guided meditation that I will put aside. This is lasting around 40 minutes. It is a way I normally in the course online, 10 hours creativity. I give also the framework in Word, in the document for you to read by your own. Like this, you can record with your own voice because the impact is different. Because you're talking, your consciousness is talking to your unconsciousness, activating differently the effect as a self-hypnosis on your inner child. But you can just do it by listening my voice. The effect is different. It's working well as well, according to the different testimony I had and the feedback. But concretely, this is this. So we're gonna use techniques, guide meditation to be relaxed and to penetrate the gateless gate, in a certain extent, the doors of your unconsciousness for you, 2 parameters. So, and then I guide with visualization, and you just have to listen and to visualize roughly. And the goal is a little bit like we did before, but I am guiding you, so it's quite powerful. There is also special music sounds established for that, tailor-made by a friend of mine, to activate some frequencies in your brain. So I invite you to do it a maximum of time every day, if you can do it, at least for 1 week, ideally 21 days, and you will more and more reactivate this kind of thing. Well, I invite you, globally speaking, to test all these techniques and to play with that, to have fun with that, because it will change radically your life if you activate that. As different tips, I can recommend to have fun with grown-ups, games that we call life in general. You will see, you will see also the little egos sometimes in a meeting. You know, the capricious kid who doesn't want to share his toys or her toy, or he pretend because it's just not confident, or he want to compensate and so on. This is at the end just a big joke, a cosmic big joke. It's like a piece of theater, and everybody is playing perfectly his own roles. Okay, so observe life like this. Don't take you seriously. Okay, it's like the title we have, or I'm professor, I'm CEO. This is my case. I have a center of well-being and so on. Bullshit. I mean, it's not bullshit. I'm proud of what life brought me, and I did effort for that. There was discipline. I invest my time and so on. It's a matter of fact, but it's not a finality. It's just, it's good when my friends sometimes they are laughing at me and so on. It's fun. It's fun. It's just when you have a certain detachment and you just realize with real eyes that you're not completely, fully the main actor, you are the co-actor and co-scenarist, because you are breathed by the divine, let's say, energy, light. And this is something brings you humility. And that's why you are always grateful, because even the achievements that you have in your life, it's just the fruit of a collaboration. You see, if you really deep, the essence of what I'm saying now is really the notion of there is only God. Which is, when you find that, you just realize that then ego is the separation, is a kind of demon. Demon is the fragmentation of the existence. Okay, you understand? And then the action of the unity is just to be crossed by divinity, by God, whatever, great old, whatever you call it, the source and so on. I invite you to see the key 5 and key 6 and so on, the reconnection as well, key 11 and so on, for you to refresh your mind if you need. Obviously, and as the eyes also, it doesn't mean inner child, doesn't mean that you flee, you run away from your responsibility for life because it's violent, because when you watch the news you want to be out because you're hypersensitive. I am hypersensitive. But the way of activate my inner child, but actually I never had to activate my inner child, because my inner child has been preserved all my life long. And even sometimes I say, when do we become real adults? Because I'm 41 years old and now, and maybe next year, maybe, and I just realized one thing, guys. Adults are just kids with wrinkles, with ages. That's it. But, and a lot, some grandpas, sometimes they're just kids. The big CEO is just a kid, and sometimes for the good, for the bad. And sometimes it's just, that's why when you understand that, you are more tolerant, and you can also activate more compassion, better communication, and so on. You know, you can match with the expectation, the fears, and so on. They don't want to, they want to preserve the game because they are afraid to lose it, and so on. So this is interesting to analyze also with deeper perception of this concept of inner child. But it's not the fact to run away. It's not the concept of the syndrome Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty, you know, in Asia there is a lot of this Hello Kitty style. Sometimes you can see people are 50 years old and they are full of Hello Kitty everywhere. Why? Because they like this innocence and they don't like responsibility. They don't want to get older. That's why there are so many surgery. For instance, in South Korea, 30%, 1/3 of people are fake. Okay, I'm not talking about for, let's say, when you have an accident and so on, when it's really something painful for you. But in the sense that the society and this Hello Kitty style is the fact not to like, to appreciate life. Ringers, I'm proud of them. One of them is like a line of my life. When you see a grandpa, his hands and so on, there is a story in each wrinkle. This is a line, this is a book, and so on. Is a page of a story behind that. So this is also an invitation to be more, let's say, in the unity of yourself. And this is the last advice, is the fact, this is the concept I already talked in the past, is the concept that I baptized and invented, childhood presage. What is it? Children, child, adult and children. Okay, so child and adults, childlets, like compact, and presage, a sage, a wise, okay, wisdom. This is a triptych. It's 3 chapters of the same book of life, the same self that you are. So it's an aspiration to be complete. It means the inner child, for the reason we just explained, innovation, capacity of marvel life. The adult is the structure, the deadline, the organization, and so on, the project management, the fact to have some morals, to respect people, and so on, the stability in a certain extent. And then, so it's good to be a bit of all of them, okay? 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And the sage, which is in a process, because nobody say, hey, I'm sage, I'm wise. No, otherwise you're not. You're arrogant, you see? So this is just a kind of detachment, because you have ages, you are old most of the time. In your mind, in your perception, your career is behind, so you don't want the competition and to fight, or you don't want your libido, we will see for sexuality, reduce. So you're not necessarily are a womanizer anymore. You calm down a little bit. You know, the Essenes, the Jewish, the Gnosis, they were old most of the time, and that's why the masters are old, because, I'm sorry to tell you, but they are not, they don't have the sex in their brain instead of the brain sometimes, and they are not animated by the sexual pulse all the time. They are more, let's say, free regarding that. They release, they liberate from this, we can consider that their slavery to a certain extent. Okay, so this is a kind of detachment. You are more benevolent to our life, except if you become bitter and so on, is another story. But if you are fulfilled, you will appreciate life like this without the notion of competition, but more collaboration and so on. You are more in the notion of everything is perfect as it has to be, okay, as a process of life, as a process of acceptance and so on. It doesn't mean that you are not in the action, but at least you appreciate life as it is, okay? So, well, this is a triptych. I invite you to think, to meditate, and also to apply it. The different techniques we saw, this key is one key for you to master, to shape your master key. And as you know now, all the roads lead to Rome and to home. See you very soon. Thank you for your attention.